The Bring a Trailer Podcast.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Bring a Trailer Podcast. Alex Porter here, coming to you from San Francisco headquarters of Bring a Trailer, joined once again by Randy Nonnenberg, co-founder and president. Randy, thanks for doing this.
Hey, I'm excited to chat today. Good to see you, Alex.
You're fresh back from The Bridge. Give me the pitch. What is The Bridge?
The Bridge is amazing. It's an event on the East Coast in New York on Long Island. I had never spent any time on Long Island. I don't know if you have, but it is not easy to get there from the Bay Area.
Everybody's frightened of driving the length of it. That's what I know about.
I learned that. But anyway, the event is pretty spectacular. I mean, one of the best concours exhibits, most enjoyable that I've ever been to. It's at the location of the former Bridgehampton racetrack, Bridgehampton, New York. I can't believe that they had a racetrack back in the day that is on the side of this slope that overlooks the bay and like beautiful water view. And it's like kind of on the dunes on the hillside, which is pretty spectacular. They've unfortunately since been run out of town because of noise ordinances for racetracks. Of course. They have put a golf course in there where now they do a race themed concours. And it was super cool. And it's halfway down, I'd say.
Oh, okay.
It's not all the way out. Montauk's way out on the tip.
Gotcha.
We did a driving event that went out there. So they've kind of turned it into a 3-day thing. There's a driving day. There's a show day. And the cool part about the show, this is the coolest part. The thing was from 2 p.m. to 7 p.m. So it's not like, you know, all the old timers are out there with their folding chair at 7 a.m. or whatever, which I have no appetite for whatsoever. Yeah. It's evening because the sun goes down and it like gets dark for it to end. It ends almost sort of at dark. And so the cars are pulling out and headlights are on and they're like going out on the former racetrack over the dunes to depart. Anyway, it's really, really neat the way that they have it set up. Super thoughtful event, folks. I'll go into that about like what makes up the event. But anyway, 3 days of different things. The third day, BAT was most involved in the third day. We sponsored like a Cars and Coffee type event, come one, come all, free access in Bridgehampton, the town, not at the racetrack. This is in the town. There's a main highway that runs east-west all the way along Long Island, and that goes straight through town, you know, past the old churches and the coffee shops and whatever. It's a little village. You could imagine like a 4th of July parade sort of thing going on.
Is it small town feeling?
And it's each little small town along the way. And there's 6 of them along the way, all the way out. And some of them are super swanky, right? Like East Hampton is like gazillionaire land. And then Montauk is like surf towny and beach houses and families on vacation and stuff like that. A lighthouse all the way out on the end.
Sick.
Anyway, people from New York are listening to this laughing at a Californian trying to explain the appeal of New York, but I was welcomed in. I mean, I was a little bit of a fish out of water, but I was welcomed in, and there were a lot of eye-opening components to it, and I wish I had you there and wish I had some other friends there, shared it with Howard and Zach and some of our team who were there. But anyway, there's a lot of things to talk about. The event and how it was run, which is like 10 out of 10. There's how it compare and contrast to other events that we're more used to, and maybe our audience is more used to. There's the different vibes of the different days we were there. And then there's like topography and things to visit and food and like vibes and people. The people are different. Like everything's different, right? So anyhow, as a first timer, you can see I'm talking as kind of a rookie. It was my first time to both the area and all the events. And so huge learning curve and just joy, you know, everywhere you turned, it's like a different car that I hadn't seen before. It's a crowd that I didn't know and I got to, you know, shake hands with. And then the little towns, getting to see the little towns was really cool.
Amazing, man. So, well, I guess maybe the way to approach it then is like, how did you experience it? You flew into JFK?
I flew into LaGuardia, which is right north of there. Yeah.
Okay, LaGuardia. And then you drove out?
I rented a Jeep Wrangler.
Fantastic.
I landed at 8 p.m., right? It took me all day and time change to get out there. And then I drove 2 hours from there to get to Bridgehampton, right? So, I mean, you drive like a ways. You should keep going. And if you had to get to Montauk, that's another whole hour. So it's like 3 hours end to end to drive Long Island. And I drove 2/3 of the way out there to where Bridgehampton is, which is crazy because so this racetrack is just one of the better racetracks in the region. It's actually, dude, the history of it, they were running a little museum exhibit with videos of the old track and posters and paintings and stuff. two major claims of Bridgehampton, which is RIP, I think in the 90s.
It's road course originally, right? SCCA road course?
Total
Yeah, okay.
road course.
Yeah.
And they first like official racetrack in America. That's one of their claims.
What?
Is that possible?
I mean, like before the Brickyard? I don't understand how that could.
But early stuff.
All right, like unpaved roads, it was like dirt roads.
And then, or road course. Maybe they called it road course because that's different than
they're getting a little tricky with words.
Yeah.
Okay.
But no, they staked some early claims. Okay. Also, first place a Ferrari ever raced in America.
Oh, well, that could be because it could be 1950 or something like that, or 49.
So it's not earliest because that would be like 1900 racetracks. Yeah. It's not that. Maybe
Henry Ford was racing in like 1899.
Yeah,
right?
First paved race. Anyway, there were a few bold claims made.
I love the bold claims.
And I love it too. And anyway, they had cool stuff. But yeah, they were showing the early days very analogous to Road America, right? Like there was a through the streets of the town course, which killed a bunch of people. And so we built a racetrack.
Yep.
Right. And there was nobody
Pebble
there.
too. Pebble and Laguna, same program.
Totally. Yep. So it's all these guys were killing people the same years, right? And deciding.
Totally.
Somebody decided to buy a paving company.
The MGTC brakes didn't work out.
Curtis. Your Curtis goes flying into the audience. Not ideal. So they all came to, I wonder if they actually came to the conclusion together or they all
it's all like 52 is like when they do it. They start in like 49 and then 3 years later they're like, we need a dedicated facility.
And somehow in Italy they let them do it for 6 more years before it killed hundreds of people, right? So it's just
and in Mexico. There's those last few years longer.
Yeah, Mexico. But that's why I have to wonder, like, weren't any of these people talking to each other or were they all little microcosms of these racing
Well, from what
communities?
I understand, the SCCA was kind of its own little culture and it was kind of like East Coast elite type dudes, right? And so it makes sense that they would have one pretty close to New York, right? Mm-hmm. Relatively close.
So anyway, I was raving when we were in Wisconsin about, oh my gosh, Briggs Cunningham raced here. Well, this is like his home turf, right? 100%. I mean, these dudes were out there running cars.
Sailing out at Newport and racing a sailboat and then racing
the sailboat from the pits. That's the preferred setup.
Sure.
So anyway, they had a great setup, but it was very similar. It reminded me of you and me talking about those other tracks and those other stories. Anyway, so they did all that and some super cool claims of what had been done. I mean, they ran Can-Am there. I mean, they ran fast cars there back in the day. And then eventually it faded into club racing and then it faded into golf course.
Is there any piece of the track left?
Yes, there is. So the front straight is like a golf cart path now. And I was looking at it, I was like, it's too narrow. How can that be a front straight? But some of the concrete is still there. And that's where the pits were off to the side. And so you can kind of, if you held the map in front of you, you can kind of piece it together. But they maintain one bridge over it that's still there. It's this old, rickety like racetrack bridge from the 70s.
Is that the name? Hence the name of the event?
I mean, the town's called Bridgehampton. I don't think it's, but it fits the brand.
The bridge,
Bridgehampton. They tried to keep one of them, and then there's turn one and whatever. Supposedly you can map it out if you go right around the property. But yeah, I drove straight up the front straight, which is super cool to see that it's still there.
Did you rent a golf cart to do that?
No, that was in the Jeep. I was pulling into the event. Parking was like on the fairway. So I drove straight in. And a lot of cars when they were exiting are coming straight up this deal, which is, I have a picture of a Boss 429 that was pulling out, sitting there idling, sun's down in the background, and it's on the Bridgehampton front straight. I mean, that's pretty neat. That's pretty different than, you get a lot of car shows that are like on some random golf course because I mean it's nice and it's green and the aesthetic's nice oftentimes, but this had sort of a different connection to it, which was
right because it's the place where the track was itself. So first day is drive, you said, or what's the order of operations? Yeah,
so the advanced day, I guess maybe you go all the way out there and like you don't want it to just be an event from 2 to 7, right? And a lot of people bring cars and then they have spectators, and so whoever's behind it like has the wisdom to kind of make a weekend out of it. So yeah, they did the tour of Montauk on Friday, which is just a route, it's a drive from breakfast to lunch. Basically, it's not like you're going to go out some, crazy route. There's just beautiful coastside driving and a couple little light hills here and there to trundle over. But a lot of guys brought a bunch of heavy cars, a bunch of modern supercars, and then some super early vintage stuff. And I did it in a 964 that borrowed from 1600 Veloce. They had a 964 turbo that I got to drive around in.
Hell yes, brother.
Which was super strong.
Yeah.
Super strong like that. And we got to drive some fun cars, and there were great cars on the event.
Man, sick. So it's all over the place in terms of cars. Zach sent me a picture of a supercharged Duesenberg. So there's kind of classic concours stuff, but are the like hypercars and modern cars, are those part of the concours too? Or those are just like kind of there because the people are there?
So here's the thing. It's kind of a garden party.
Oh,
What the whole thing is, because there's no awards. There's no like announcer going like, and now there's no judges. There's no nothing. It's a cool assemblage of just awesome cars from all over the map and from all over genres. And they kind of group them and it's kind of curated. But I think it's a different feel of a show for that reason, right? There's no like pressure. There's not guys polishing chrome. There's not.
Okay.
But they roll them out. And I guess the vibe is like just an impressive mix of stuff you don't see all the time. So the guys that organize it, I think it's pretty rare to get invited, right? I mean, you gotta get invited to show your car, and they group them together however they do, but it's more sort of experiential. A lot of people the whole time, and don't let this color it for you, are saying it's the East Coast quail. And I was like, no, it's not. The whole time I was pushing back on that analogy because, it's not a swanky golf course. And there's oysters everywhere or whatever, right? But there's nice food and there's nice hospitality. But maybe it's like quail 10 years ago, right? I mean, like quail now is corporate. It's like brand car launch. Like everything is like Porsche USA has this huge experience and I mean all that stuff. There's no auction. There's a couple supporting sponsors, but like two of them, right? Benz was there and they had some heavy cars or whatever. So that's cool. But it wasn't super brandy, which I actually really liked it. There were a few of them and they were kind of presented in an easygoing way. But it was kind of garden party, people were dressed up really nice. So I like that. But it was distinctly different from a Pebble or a Concours, right? And it's not in the name. They're not like, it's not a competition. It's just a hang. But pretty cool. I feel super lucky to have gone. I would say, anybody should try to go if they can wrangle. It's one of these deals like quail, where it's an expensive ticket and it's a nice deal, and it includes lovely hospitality and open bar for everybody and beautiful food spread all over hundreds of yards apart. So it kind of guides you on walking through all these cars.
Awesome.
And that just makes it really enjoyable. Everybody was like, I was like, man, is it always this good? I was like, it's pretty good. And they're like, well, you got great weather and you caught this and that. But they're like, yeah, it's pretty good around here. I was like, I believe that. So anyway, I was pretty stoked on it. And the organizers, I should shout them out. They were lovely and were super psyched that BAT was there to be part of any part of it, but certainly the third day part of it, which was fun, which I should also describe what the third day was like. But it's a pretty high-end scene out there, right? I mean, it's kind of not super approachable, I would think, for a lot of, even like me just rolling out there. Like I didn't know that many people and I was just never been to the area. Like, where do I stay?
Was it crowded?
How do I get there? Like what do I wear?
Totally.
Like all this stuff. I was kind of trying to figure it out. And thankfully everybody's pretty easygoing. There were people that were casual and then there were people like super decked to the nines, but everybody was friendly. And I mean, the cars were really, really neat, man. I mean, it was pretty crazy stuff. 1600 Veloce brought 15 Ferraris, which was totally crazy. Wow. And there was like a muscle car. I mean, there was a really nice 65 Shelby and Vettes and Camaros and stuff all sort of huddled in one spot, and like a Mopar drag car, like a 426 wedge car or something.
Wow.
And then there was a whole Porsche RS section, which was cool. And then there was like Isetterini Italian section that was cool. So, I mean, it was unusual cars you wouldn't see every day. And then, I mean, there was some sort of mainstream stuff. There were like 356 coupes or whatever, right? But then there was some deep cuts, which I liked seeing. There was maybe we'll pull it up on BT. I should know the name of it. What's that early Volvo cabriolet that has like a snout, like an anteater nose on it? You know what I'm talking about?
1900, something like that.
Maybe. You know what I'm talking about?
Yes, there was one on Howard's event a long time ago when I first started at BAT, and who was I with? Patrick or somebody was like, what is that? I'm like, that's a Volvo.
Totally.
And they maybe even be coach built. It may be like a Pininfarina when Pininfarina was two separate words or something like that. They're not the prettiest car in the world, but they're interesting.
They're super interesting. Yeah. And I was trying to remember if I'd ever seen one in person at all. I've featured them on BAT because anytime one of those comes around, you got to feature it if it's for sale, right? Super unusual car. But I was there with a buddy who is like deep into coach built one-off type stuff. And he's like, we were just you would have loved this. We were mid conversation. This is buddy Tom Hale. Shout out to Tom Hale. He's a clever fellow. And he's like, mid-sentence, and he's like, oh, and clearly we're going to go talk about this Volvo, Randy, because this is maybe the most unusual car here. And yes, that is
P1900.
P1900. There it is.
Yep.
So there was a white one of those, and it was like perfectly restored, and it was front and center. Volvo had a little sponsorship or display or something going on, and I was very pleased that it got top billing, right? So that's kind of gives you a little sense of the show that, sure, there's like a Veyron there or whatever. There was a McLaren F1 there or whatever. But this thing, this unusual Volvo, I have no idea what it's worth, but it's super rare. Do any of our write-ups say how many were made?
68.
Yeah, okay.
First 19 were built by Glaspar.
There you go.
I mean,
oh, it's a plastic car.
Yeah.
They're not, okay, so they're not coach built metal.
Volvo got the idea when he saw the Corvette.
Okay.
So it's all in that, like plastic, like the Kaiser Darren era, right? Like build a interesting car out of fiberglass that's really funky looking.
Yeah, it has a forward tipping hood. Tom pointed out when we were sitting there. If you look at the front shots of it, it has little piano hinges on either side of the grille, and the hood will pop up to the front.
Amazing.
Anyway, so that sort of thing was there, right? So
that's more interesting than a Veyron to me.
Totally, me too. And that's why I'm saying that, right? I mean, you kind of go, you're like, okay, we're going to the Hamptons to a car show, right? It's like, okay, how many colors of Enzo are going to be there? Right. And I was like, okay, and that's cool. I mean, that stuff's fun. And some of that stuff was there. But that car pulls up and it's like, oh, wait a minute. We can have a conversation around some real weirdness there.
So of course we're going to talk about
totally. So I went up and stood next to I had a cocktail next to that car. And we like investigated, all the details of that car, which are numerous and very weird. And so anyway, that was super fun. And you could have found 20 things like that all over the place to go talk about, but also side by side with more things you'd sort of expect, I mean, the Lambo Countach exhibit, I think there were 8 or 9 of them in any spec you want. And you're like, do you like wing? Zach and I had a funny little deliberation. Do you like wing? Do you like Euro bumper? Do you like those wheels? Do you like gold wheels? Do you like, what do you like? Take your pick, right? And that's fun.
That's actually really cool because you don't always get that opportunity to kind of compare, like, here's all the different flavors of this thing. And it's not just different colors. Like that car changed a lot over the time that it was built. So that's rad.
And somebody had the wild hair idea to get a only yellow 993 GT and high-end cars of every variant. So right next to each other, there was an NGT RS, there was a 96 RS with the big wing, 95 with the small wing, there was a C4S, and there was a turbo. They were all in fly yellow, and they were all sitting right there. And you could kind of compare and contrast like all the weirdness of them. And obviously that was intentional.
But that's really good curation.
That's not just who showed up.
No.
Right?
That's really good curation, right? Because it makes it an interesting talking point for your visitors.
Totally. So I stopped and I looked at it, and Zach and I argued over whether big wing or small wing's better. We never agreed. And you just sit there and it's just kind of like, wow, that's cool. And then we got to see all those cars pull out, which was very, very cool, right? And then there's BL Barrow or whatever it's called, like Abarth, Fiat race cars that are there. And then you get to go debate those cars, right? There was a pretty 904 that Autosport Designs had previously sold. I was sniffing around that car to try to figure out who had that and where that car was now. Silver with some black and steel wheels. Yeah,
blue
nice
seats.
Car.
Yeah. Good stuff.
That was there. I enjoyed that. So anyhow, I could go on and on and on about the whole Rolodex of all the cars, but super cool folks, some like star sightings and like fancy people sightings, which is always kind of fun and just really well executed. Like we put on BAT events, so I'm always tuned in to like, okay, how is this event going to roll out?
How is it executed?
How do they do this? And how much does it cost? So first of all, the facility's like lights out, but like I was joking. And I'm always, I don't know, maybe this is more a signal of me than anybody else and how they're doing their events. But like the guys in the parking lot, like directing you where to park, were like put together and shirts tucked in and spoke really nicely and welcomed you and whatever. And this is the guy like 12 people removed from the entrance. It's not like
the rental guy who's like so upset that he's there.
He's like, why am I here? No, they were all just like super buttoned up. Anyway, they had done this before. This was the 9th edition, the Bridge 9. And it was terrific. But yeah, anyway, I can answer questions or I can tell you about the third day was cool too.
I want to, hold on, a few questions. I do want to hear a third day. One, was it crowded? Were there a lot of spectators there?
So they shuttle people in on coaches to bring them in. You don't like drive into the little golf parking lot. Like there's a lot of interest. few thousand people there, right? Like enough that it was like, wow, but not a stadium full of people there. But yeah, I mean, well attended. And, but you wait behind two people to get some awesome food at every station, right? So it's not like it's overrun with people. And the cars are very spread out. There's moments where from one show car to the next show car is 25 yards, right?
Wow.
So you kind of walk up and walk to the next car. They got so much room. They were probably only on around the clubhouse and then 2 golf holes or 3 golf holes or something like that. So it's not like they're out of space. They could spread it out even more. They just don't want you to have to walk 2 miles.
Yeah.
But it's not car. It doesn't feel like a parking lot on the grass sort of vibe. It's very spread out, and the cars are, rotated around and such that it doesn't feel like a parking lot on the grass.
Man,
it feels like a spread out deal that you go stroll through, which is cool.
That is fun. It's like you're taking a walk and kind of coming upon them, which is rad. Is it like straw hats and blazer program?
There's straw hats and blazers. Yeah, there's everything, man.
Okay.
I mean, there's like, leisure cash folks. And then there's folks that you're like, wow, that guy's outfit is very expensive.
Oh,
I don't know.
He's in his linen. He's in his linens.
Totally. I mean, all the things. People that just stepped off an airplane from something very metropolitan. And then there's people that are kind of there in their dusty Land Rover,
Sick.
But it kind of brings all types in.
So it's in the afternoon, which is weird. It's hard for me to like imagine this not in the morning.
I had a great morning. I had a great morning though, dude. Right?
Okay.
You sleep in a little bit. You go to some.
You're
cafe.
in no rush if it's 2 o'clock.
No rush. People are like, "Oh, you going to the show tomorrow?" You're like, "Yeah." You're like, "Okay, cool. Like, where are you going to lunch before? Like, I'll catch you there." You know what I mean? I mean,
it's very different.
I actually really love it. I'm fully on board. I was even on West Coast time still, so I was a little out of it, but I was appreciative that it wasn't a 6:30 a.m. start to go get the
3:30 your time. Yeah.
And so we know people that were setting up cars and staging cars. It also eases up the whole setting up cars thing because you set up cars the whole morning before the public shows up, right?
Yep.
So anyway, somebody has thought this through, and a lot of that I found was they just kind of do it their own way. It's like you could ask them why they do it that way, but if you just enjoy the heck out of it, like obviously this is kind of a neat way to do it. So
you've done it correctly.
It's different than Pebble, and it's different than Quail, and it's different than, Moda Miami, all that stuff. Everybody's got their flavor, but these guys kind of found their own flavor, and I respect that.
Man, that's awesome. So were you there pretty much from 2 to 7? Were you there for 5 hours?
Yeah, totally. Okay. Burn the whole thing. You park and you kind of stroll in, and it doesn't matter if you're a little bit late, and I'm sure some people vacated earlier, but I stayed till it was closed down. Actually, the end of it was my favorite part.
Because everything fires up.
Because everything fires up and people start leaving. You get to see them in motion,
That's rad.
right? And they eventually chase you off. Like it was 7:20 or something. And they're like, okay, get out of here. Like these yoked up like security bros are like, okay, head to the vans. And I was like, oh, bummer. But you understand why they do that. You can't have anybody like linger around. The show's over.
People are playing golf the next day, I presume.
Maybe they put it back together for that. Yeah. But even more than that, you get to see, all those Lambos like kick their doors up and the headlights go up. You see an LM 002 like driving over this dune to get out and stuff. I really like that part too. You don't see that at a lot of car shows.
Yeah, that's so sick. Man. All right. Well, you're doing a good job of selling it. Now tell me about the Cars and Coffee.
I'm an unpaid
they are not
sort
a
of marketing person. They are not a sponsor, but I do, hope to get on back. 1600 Veloce has been involved there since the beginning of that show. And obviously we're in very close partnership with them. And so they kind of hosted me for the weekend. So if I owe anybody a thanks, it ought to be a shout out to them as well. But I'm just kind of calling balls and strikes. It's a show I'd never been to. I obviously have a experiential sort of bias to a bunch of stuff that I've done a million times and seen how it's been done. And it's just cool to see a different take on it. And I don't say it's better or worse, but it's its own thing. People are like, Randy, why are you going all the way out there to go to that show? And I was like, well,
I was one of those people.
There's some cool folks out there that I wanted to touch base with and see. Just I'm into checking off new things, and like I had never been to any of that area before. Obviously never eaten at the restaurants, never seen the beaches, never the lighthouse. I drove my rental Jeep all the way out to the end of Long Island to check that off. Easternmost point in New York, I heard.
Yeah, that's probably right.
I got to hang with some of our crew and see some cool cars.
It must be so refreshing, I guess is how I would phrase it, to after all the things you've seen and all the things you've done in the automotive world to see something done a little differently. I can tell you're kind of jazzed up by it, right? The fact that it's its own thing is pretty refreshing after you've done this many things.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's true. And I've gotten a lot of sort of invigoration in the car world around going to like writing out a list of cool things to go to and try them out. Places I have, Wisconsin, right? The whole Road America weekend, I had never done any of that before. This thing, I had never done any of it before. A couple years ago, I did Le Mans Classic, had never done that before. And the whole thing is like so sensory overload awesome because I'm into the travel and the transfers and the how do you get there and what car do you rent and like who are all these people and like what times it start. You're a little out of your comfort zone because you end up late and in the wrong place at the wrong time and you can't make it work and you miss your train and blah, blah, blah. All that sort of stuff happens. But for me, it's really fun to be able to say, yeah, I've seen that part of the world and I checked that out and I high-fived some people and it was different. And also all the cars that show up are a different set of cars, right? This gets back to the, I talk about it a lot, but the Overcrest bros with their ethos of doing a car event, but you do it in a different place every time, right? And it sets you on your heels a little bit because you're like, I don't know where this is. You got it on a map, but you've never done it. So anyway, I think that's cool. That's not for everybody. Some people want the same routine and stay in your own bed and like at your own show. And those are super cool too. But recently I'm on this kick of checking off places and things I've never done before. So this was on it.
Freaking awesome, dude. So
the Hamptons, dude. There's gotta be some bad television about that geography.
Sure
is there like a Real Housewives or something of that whole zone? There were some people walking around that were fancy, right? I mean, there's fancy stuff out there. I drove down.
I mean, it's Gatsby. This is the 100th anniversary of Gatsby this year.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes. So anyway, that whole jam.
West Egg and East Egg.
Totally. And you pull up Redfin or whatever in your zone and like look at like the estates for sale for $100 million or whatever, right? I mean, there's all that stuff's going on and it's kind of fascinating. And sometimes that stuff's a turn off, but there's some aesthetic to it that I really liked, right? It was kind of English countryside, hedgerows and old
tell me about
cottages.
The countryside. It's like rolling, like low rolling hills.
It's minimal. It's sand dunes. I mean, there's not a lot of, there's no mountains. There's a couple of, a bridge that's a grade. It's like,
and you're on the southern part of Long Island.
The highways all the way along the southern beaches, but the beaches are mostly private until you get out to the end, right? Because these houses all sort of own the beach in front of them. So if you want to go to the beach, you drive all the way out to the end.
Did you go onto the north side and can you see Rhode Island and Connecticut or is it too far away?
The race course is on the north side.
Okay, gotcha.
And Sag Harbor and those sort of things are on the north side. And so you're looking across, I say it has an ocean view, but it actually has the water between New York and Connecticut view, right? And so there's a bunch, Shelter Island is out there. There's a bunch of these places. Anyway, it's cool, man.
Yeah,
I mean, I'm a West Coaster through and through, and it was very, very cool. But everybody that was there, also interesting, said, don't come out here in July because it's mob full of tourists. You can't even move. And obviously winter, it all closes up. Like nobody's out there, right? So this was kind of the perfect split the uprights, got the weather. I guess a couple of years ago, it rained pretty hard at the event. This year, it was blue skies and 72 degrees. It was super nice for the Volvo convertible. Totally. I don't know how it would have fared in the rainy year. Yeah.
Can you see Connecticut? Is it that close, or is it like
I saw some land mass out there. Okay. I associated it with Connecticut, but maybe
it's to the north. It's weird for us. West Coast boys. The ocean is always to the west. Yeah, and that's where the sun sets, and it's all backwards there.
Why is the sun setting over land? This makes no sense. Up is down, down is up.
Totally. Awesome, dude. So 1600 Veloce had all those Ferraris out.
One of which was live on BAT. There was a 365 GT that is burgundy coupe that is live on
rad.
BAT right now, which is a sweet car.
That is a sweet car. You saw that. So that was at the, I'm not supposed to call it a concourse. That's at the fancy show. But then they brought the same cars out to the, is it like a different group of cars or a lot of the same stuff that comes to the Cars and Coffee on Sunday?
There were some cars that were the same and we're at all three. There were BAT alumni cars on the lawn, on the drive, and at the Cars and Coffee, and there were different subsets. Oh, dude, man, I can go off on individual cars.
Yes, well, I want some of that.
So the next day is in the town of Bridgehampton, next to the museum where they have all this car memorabilia, track memorabilia stuff, which everybody should go see.
And it's like a little East Coast downtown with like a little courthouse of it. Okay, great.
White. Yes, there's a Presbyterian church.
Of course.
I took a picture of the sign. It was built in 1630.
Right. Everything's so much older than California, too.
And there's a little strip of shops, and one's a swanky restaurant you can't afford, and one's a coffee shop.
And lobster rolls, just lobster
rolls. There's lobster rolls, and then, there's an art gallery, and but then there's like a shoe shine setup, right? I mean, it's not all like unattainable. It's like East Coast little old towns have an interesting unapproachability and lead approachability to them, right?
Sure.
And then there's a gas station on the corner and there's a whatever. The little hotel I stayed in was old and not expensive, but you could go and stay at a coastal resort that'll break the bank, right?
Yeah.
It's kind of got it all. But anyway, the show was in a field or something. I don't know how they got this little barnyard. And we had a BAT tent and a 1600 Veloce tent. And this was fairly well publicized because it was people that weren't at the show, right? I mean, it was people cruising in. A few heavy cars. There was a BMW M1 that rolled in, but then there were like TR3s and MGAs and mellow cars
that drove
cruising
just
in.
for the cars and coffee
Just
part.
locals for the cars and coffee. Not everybody goes to the show. I feel like the show may be a little exclusive. I think it sells out and it's expensive, right? But this next thing is free. There's food for sale. So if you want to do like a donuts or breakfast or whatever, you can do that. But then, somebody rolls in like a heavy Ferrari. But then one of the best cars there, dude, is BAT alumni 65 or 6 Wimbledon white Mustang Coupe, Sacramento Ford frames on it over New York plates. Guy bought it on BAT. I watched this car on BAT. I may even show it to you. Notch, white, red interior, rally pack, V8 stick.
Wow.
Lowered on torque thrust with a bunch of, I don't know if you remember this car.
I don't remember.
And guy was totally cool. I stopped and looked at the car a lot at the show. He wasn't with it. And then I saw him as he's leaving and I ran out on the road and I ran probably 50 yards to the stop sign. I was so thankful that the red light or the stop sign stopped him and his windows are down. And I like knock on the top of the door and kneel down next to him. I'm like, hey man, I'm like out of breath. I was like, I like your car. I remember it from BAT. You bought this on BAT, right? And he's like, yep. And I was like, this is killer. Da, 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 da. Anyway, we start talking about the cars. That was a very cool car to see out there, and one of those dry aged California cars that now ends up in New York in this guy's deal, and he's out driving it. And he's like, man, well, if you come back, you can drive this thing. I was like, where do you live? He's like, I live right here. Like, if you want to come back out to Long Island, you can drive this thing around. I was like, oh man, now you're tempting me. So that was a cool car, but that was a good example.
The Bridge X, the Bridge 10.
Totally. But that bro may not have been at the fancy car show.
Right.
I didn't see it. And I didn't see it around town, but then it comes out to the Cars and Coffee thing on Sunday morning. And I was like, wow, that's really cool. So Cars and Coffee was 9 to 11. So it's not even super dawn patrol. Right. Kind of a cash lifestyle town, you know?
Can you take a car ferry from Rhode Island?
Yes.
Okay,
at
great.
2 different points, Rhode Island and Connecticut and more.
And that comes right into that little harbor there at Bridgehampton?
Allegedly. I've never done it.
Okay.
But I was investigating different ways to get there.
That would be an interesting way to bring your car, like on the ferry for the Cars and Coffee.
Agree. So that was a cool car. What else did I look at? There was a lot of E30 M3s. There was a whole E30 M3 display at the fancy show, but then 4 or 5 showed up the next day and they weren't at the fancy show. I was like, man, there's a lot of these around. So that was interesting.
See the killer result on the low mile one from today or yesterday?
The Lux Silver one. Red
interior. Do you see your car? Was your white E30 M3 there?
There were a few that I thought they may be, right? Because Veloce owns that car now. And no, they didn't bring that. They brought Ferraris. They went heavy on Ferraris. If you want to talk about 308 GTBs that you didn't get to see in person.
Well, and Anthony's going to build that hot rod one. Did he have one of those there?
No, there were not those, but there were several fiberglass bodied, funky color stocks. And do you know the deal on the taillights on a 308? I'll butcher the name, but the plastic ones.
Vetra Resina.
Yeah. I always think resin, like plastic,
it is.
Right?
That must be what it means. Yeah, because it's like plastic and resin.
Yeah. Did you know that? So they have backup lights that are down in the bumper. Anthony showed me this. We looked at them side by side. You know how the backup lights are typically in the middle of the blinker?
Oh, yeah.
The blinker is a huge orange circle with no backup light. It looks like it's like French.
Yes, and they have a little thing in the middle of the bumper too. These are the single exhaust cars.
Correct.
They still have
single exhaust, and then there's backup lights in there. So that he's like, those turn signals are impossible to find because they're only on 1 year or 2 years of the car, or whatever, the plastic cars. So anyway, I learned that.
I think they look way better with the little single exhaust and stuff.
I think like the little single exhaust is cool. I think the backup lights look dumb. I think the blinkers look dumb. I like them, but I'm a 308, whatever, sucker for a 308. They had a couple of those, and the cool part was one was this metallic green and one was navy blue.
Anything but red on those. I know.
There weren't a lot of red Ferraris. There were a bunch of funky colors. But anyway, 308s, I know GTBs are your jam. And there were a couple that you would have just sat next to the whole day and just like drooled. Just like keep bringing me cocktails and I'm just going to sit and look at this car.
Man.
So that
well,
was
that
cool.
like now I'm extra upset. Although the whole thing looks and sounds like an incredible thing that like now I'm sold. I really want to go.
I just love the motorsport tie-in, honestly. I mean, I appreciate all of it. It's really cool. And a delightful Lux event like that is obviously very nice to attend. But I mean, dude, at the end of the driving range, so call it 300 yards out, there's two mobile Pegasus that are 30 feet tall that I was like, wow, is that just for the show or are those there all the time? And then when the sun goes down, they illuminate neon like out in the landscape. And I was like, well, you're just trying to get your head around this whole thing, right? Like it's kind of like an artsy moment, but it's like kind of like a car moment, but then it's like active when it illuminates. And I was like, is that here for today or is that here year round? They're like, no, that's always here. I was like, what the hell do the golfers want? Like all this car weirdness? Like are all the golfers into the car thing?
Yeah.
And the logo is like a checkered flag.
Oh,
anyway, all of it has this car thing, which for me, I'm like, this is 10 out of 10. Like, give me all of this.
Correct.
Right? But all of it is a little bit of a knuckleball because you're kind of like, does anybody else like this? Or is this just for weirdos like me? You know? But it made me be like, that's freaking cool.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have thought of that, you know?
I mean, your average golfer coming to play there is presumably not, I mean, this is, I presume, not a cheap place to play golf.
No. It's quite the opposite.
So
it's quite the opposite.
May I offer you a 30-foot tall Pegasus, you know?
Yeah. So anyway, and the maintained race bridge and like just different aspects of that. And all the logo merch is kind of motorsporty meets golfy. So anyway, it's a fascinating, and I guess the guy who owns it and has overseen this entire transformation of the property is kind of into cars and kind of into what it is now. So it makes sense. But as a first timer, I was absolutely just fascinated with the whole thing. And my mind, as it does with all these old, you know, historic motorsport heritage sites, for lack of a better term, I'm always thinking of like the guy driving up in the XK120, you know, with his goggles on sort of deal. And I was like, wow, man, this must have been a real experience back then, you know? So it's cool to see the connection to it.
Totally, man. I mean, I remember Howard having a similar reaction when he went a couple of years ago for the first time. And it's part of the reason we were there. He was just like, this is awesome and people need to go. Also what led us to Road America in some ways. So I hope more of those come down the pike because this sounds amazing. Now I want to go.
Yeah, it was pretty fun. I don't know if I'll get the chance to go back. I hope I do. But and that third day was really cool because it was a little bit more accessible and it was awesome. It was very BAT vibes of cross section of cars, you know, heavy stuff mixed with random esoteric stuff and, you know, trucks. And there's an FJ40 I spent too much time looking at, you know, standard type stuff. Anyway, just really, really fun. And crowd and the towns and stuff seemed welcoming of it, and that was positive. And good pizza and lobster rolls, man, if you want.
Yeah, hell yeah, lobster rolls. Any other people that you ran into, or you mentioned a couple of alumni cars, any other cars that really caught your eye or that were exciting?
There were many. Oh my goodness. More F40s in one place in different variants than I've seen in a long time. So that's sort of some of the heavy stuff. Those 308s I definitely would have mentioned. A BAT alumni Julietta Spider was there with a friend of ours, Cheyenne. I don't know if you remember Cheyenne. He bought that on BAT out of Northwest Euro. You probably remember this car listed on the site.
Maybe.
Northwest Euro just sold a baby blue. Blue Julietta.
Yes.
Super cool car. He somehow shipped it to the East Coast and he had it in the show and driving around. I saw it parked
killer
in town. I also went running out on the street chasing him down to tuck.
Was the Volvo also baby blue? A lot of those are baby blue. Oh, no, you said it was white.
It was
like white.
Cream. White cream.
Yeah.
So that Alpha was cool. There was a lot of Italian stuff and interesting stuff driving around.
Do they have a feature deal? Is that why there were so many Ferraris there, or is that just a coincidence?
I think they just kind of veer off in different directions however they please. It's kind of a curated sort of thing.
Good Mustang contingent. You mentioned a Boss 429.
A white 429.
White 429 is very good.
We have a blue one on the site right now.
I know.
And when I think of those cars, I think blue. I don't know what percentage of them was blue.
Well, we had that one that was like that olive black green color that's like a metallic recently, which is like one of my favorite things. I wish I could remember.
And then they had, I told you, a like stock perfect 65 Shelby GT350. And then that other alumni car was like a street car that was at the next day, not at the big time show. But yeah, there was a cool 69 Z28, I think. What else was over there on that? There was like a 62 2 Vet, 60 Vet, whatever, quad headlight, late C1 Vet, which was just kind of cool with a hard top on it and white,
I've been
white
eyeballing
walls.
C1s. I'm eyeballing C1s. They look good. That Road America did it for me. That one with the hard top, the early 57 Fuely white with orange coves. Well, yes.
I love single headlights.
I do too.
Anyway, I could just go through the Rolodex of cars, but there were plenty of good ones. No shortage.
Well, I'm so glad you got to experience that. And I know we had a couple staffers out there, so shout out to them for holding down the fort. Appreciate everyone who put in some effort on behalf of BAT. Always love hearing Veloce with all those great cars too. Good for them. You want to chat about stuff on the site?
I mean, there's some hot stuff on the site.
There really is.
I don't know if there are any you wanted to hit because there's a few things. Man, things ending today, things ending in the next couple of days.
I mean, Stutz Bearcat, I was going deep on right before we walked up here. I think it's our first Stutz.
It is our, it's our
or
first
sorry,
Bearcat.
our first Bearcat. It's not our first Stutz, but yeah.
That's a monumental model.
I mean,
it's on.
We were talking about board track racing. Speaking of early racing, it's like one of the first
So let's just be clear. That thing predates Bridgehampton race course.
Yes.
Absolutely.
It might even
probably by 40 years.
It might even predate like board track racing, which I think of as like late teens, early 20s. Really? And this is what, a 14 or a 13 or something like that. So monocle windscreen. I love a Bearcat.
Anyway, I think those things are super cool. Awesome to see one on BAT. Yeah, this week we've had both our first 904 Porsche and our first Stutz Bearcat at the same time, and those are two like obviously monumental car models in performance car history.
Yes, an amazing Tatra. Did you see that?
The Tatra is
in Germany
from 1941.
Correct.
I was looking at that car thinking about the environment in the Czech Republic in 41. I was like, oh my gosh, what has this car seen? But that was crazy. Where is it listed for sale?
It's in Germany.
It's in Germany.
Yes.
We've seen Tatras. You and I have seen some Tatras.
Not the Sudetenland.
On the road. And we've featured different models and whatever else. But to have that one is pretty astonishing, and its presentation is pretty cool.
It's a gorgeous one, really cool color. A lot of times they're black. This one's maroon, T87, so it's the 3-liter air-cooled flat 8, which is like almost airplane-esque, in the back. It's a really nice one. 8. It's an air-cooled single overhead cam flat 8.
They had someone with V engines.
Or sorry, no, this is a V8, but it is air-cooled and single overhead cam.
Got it.
Sorry, it's V, not flat.
Okay, fascinating.
I'm thinking Tucker, but there's a. Gosh, I wish I could remember the name, but a lot of the German light sport aircraft of that period had an inverted air-cooled overhead cam V8. This one's vertical.
Inverted V8 is a terrible idea.
Yeah, you have to pull the prop through before you start it because the oil pools in the top of the cylinders because they're upside down. Anyway, fascinating stuff. Let's see.
Man, we can go through. I'm on the BAT app for.
Let me go to my watch list.
Popular auctions, and it's just like each one's crazier than the next. Or the last.
I wanted to bring this up. The Galaxie that you raced with at Road America is live on the site, which I love.
That just went live. You sent me that picture of both our cars together. Let's say I was on track at the same time as that car, and it is live on BAT. Is it out of Wisconsin? Where'd the car end up?
It's in Illinois.
It was trailered south a little bit and put up for sale.
But that was a staff favorite in the pits. So
it was
cool
right.
to see.
I remember where it was pitted. We went and checked that thing
out. 4 people have already sent it to me today. They're like, here, Alex. They listened to our episode with Huff, and they're like, here it is. Here's your starter race car.
Yep, for sure.
2, you saw me eyeballing these earlier in a meeting today, which I was a little embarrassed by because I should have been paying attention. But 2 Jetta GLIs on the site recently that I liked, both of, one of which is Sarah bought, which I didn't even notice.
No embarrassment.
I was watching that.
And I had both those on my watch list.
Yeah, they're both on mine. I didn't know about the GTX, which I guess is just a GLI for Canada.
It's a Canada thing.
Right.
Yeah.
But has the good headlights on it and everything. That was a gorgeous car.
It does.
Did you see?
Did that sell?
It did. $12,000. Sarah paid quite a bit for the GLI.
That's so funny you say that because I was thinking these are such a screaming deal compared to a GTI. Like if that white car was a GTI 16 valve in that same condition, it would have been 30 minimum.
Yeah, but no one wanted these for a long time. My car had problems even when I was in high school, my GLI.
I love that Jetta.
I love them too, obviously. Man. I want to recreate my youth like so many middle-aged men. Did you see the Barracuda notchback 440? That's like a rare car.
I did.
My dad introduced me to the delights of the notch Barracuda, which you don't see very often. That car, unfortunately didn't sell today, but it was a beautiful car and got a strong bid. Low mileage green.
Did you see, I don't know if we're even going to talk about this ex-Saddam Hussein car. That's a whole thing. If people want to go search that, they can. We don't need to talk about it here. But did you see
it's at $1 million, that car.
Is it? Did you see the first, like one of the first ever E-Type coupes?
No.
That was in all of the...
Like first ever produced?
Right-hand drive. It's the 10th one produced. But it was the press car in all the magazine articles in 62 and 63.
So that means it's a 60?
See, this snuck through without you seeing it, which
61?
is an issue.
What's the very first year? 60, 61, something like that?
No. They were like 62 threes. And so this was later.
They overlap with...
No.
61. It's got to be this one.
The green coupe.
61.
You see that car? There's pictures of it with like Paul Frere, like driving it for... UK
man, look
magazines.
At these period pictures.
Yeah, they drove it over the Alps to like test it in like foul weather, and it's all documented in all these old magazine articles. It's really, really cool.
Oh, it went to Pebble. There's a Pebble,
and then it was at Pebble in the E-Type class, and blah blah blah. Anyway, that's a significant car in my opinion.
Oh, that's
and the
extremely
story.
Significant.
Talking about it like the story on a car, that one has a killer story.
Look at how clean and simple. It's so simple, the very early ones. Great seats.
So that car is a winner. Like of everything on the site right now, like that car stands out to me.
I'm coupe over roadster too on E-Types.
I know. And which I respect. I think I'm probably that as well. But roadsters every once in a while grab me. But.
Well, the reason I knew they were pretty early is because you could still buy a 150. We had a really late 150, XK150 coupe that I liked, and it was built after some of the early E-Types. So there was a little bit of overlap between 150s and E-Types, which is interesting. I think you can maybe get a 62 150, or at least you can definitely get a 61.
Interesting.
Man, this is incredible. I'm not like the hugest E-Type fan, and this is hard
I am
to
a
deny.
huge E-Type fan, but I don't know if I want a right-hand drive car. That's a right-hand drive car because it has to be, because it's so early and it was in all the UK tests. But anyway, we have a Edsel Ford II selling one of his Fords from his collection on the site. We have an ex-Bruce Willis rig on the site right now.
Edsel Ford sold today. Huge number. Yeah, huge number.
We have a real Daytona Spider on
Yes.
the website right now.
Not a chopped roof.
No, I read that. I was like, okay, tell me when the roof was chopped on this.
That's what I think
and then I went and read it, and it says one of 122 Spiders OEM. Wow. Sold new through Griswold. That's incredible.
So sick.
And then up through Reno, like all the old channels of where these cars were going, right? So is Bill Hara definitely eyeballed that car before it sold, or at least cashed the check and like made some deal
imported to Hara. It's always on the like early paperwork.
Totally. So anyway, some of that stuff is going on. The big Porsche collection is closing, started yesterday, going through another couple days. Anyway, I mean,
you mentioned 904, right? That's coming up. That car. I keep coming back to that car. Red 904 is unbelievable.
All of it. I think Monteverde sedan.
Oh, I keep looking at that one too. Yeah, weird.
Out of Switzerland, which is an awesome place to buy your Monteverde out of Switzerland from guys that like know where the other ones are.
Totally.
That car is just incredible. Everybody should go look at the videos of that car. It's such an unusual car.
Quick shout out to Redford, passed away today. Robert Redford, 89 years old, a car guy, and had a green 904. Have you ever seen his 904? It went for sale a couple years ago.
Went
had
through
a
an
6-cylinder
auction,
swap. Yeah,
and I liked the story that it was tied to him.
I did too.
I don't know that I've ever seen a picture of him in a 904, but that would be very cool. I don't know if he drove around on the street or raced it or looked at it, or what did he do?
He maybe raced it. He was racing Porsches before Newman. That's the story. He got Newman into racing.
Really?
And then they that famous story about how one of them put an old Porsche shell on the other one's lawn, and then one guy crushed it and put it back on the other guy's lawn. And then another guy turned the crushed Porsche into a hideous piece of art and put it back on the other guy's lawn. And they never spoke about it. And Paul Newman died. They just did this for years and never talked about it. I love those guys.
I've never heard that story. It's hilarious. And then, CAD-powered hot rods on the site. That crazy olds.
Wait, the CAD is the CAD powered hot rod, the
three
low
window
boy
with the big wheels on
the
it,
channel
wheel
one?
covers. Yeah, the wheel covers off of a Duesenberg or something.
Packard wheel covers on that car. That car is very strong.
Anyway,
I'm watching that car.
That's a crazy rig. And then Anyway, I can go on and on and on about
It's so strong right
stuff
now.
on BAT. It's really crazy what the team helps people sell.
We are doing just fine.
Man, I like Triumph TR250s. I don't know why. That nose stripe across them.
Have you ever owned a British Roadster? I don't think you have.
No, I helped a
have
buddy
you?
buy an MGA, and now for my kid, we got him
That's right,
an
the
MGB,
B.
which is cool. Ever do any other Brits?
We
I
drove
have a
around in that
Cortina.
Sprite that one year.
I have a low court.
Yeah, you
but
have a low
I don't have any other Brits at the moment.
That year that your buddy brought the Sprite
I really
out to
like
the
that
BAT
Bug
event.
Eye.
That was so
I love
good.
Bug Eyes.
Yeah,
I got
do
a great
too.
picture of Bug Eyes in the corkscrew. I have to show you from again about probably 1958.
Yeah, think about Bridgehampton,
Right?
H production or whatever.
Hay bales and people flying out of cars. You know, it's like an amazing era.
Absolutely.
I wish I could have seen it.
Absolutely.
I wish I could have seen it. All right, man.
All right, bud. Thanks for doing this. I'm so glad you had a great time at that event. What an awesome one. Any parting shots?
No, just want to encourage people to get out to cool car events and take your car and have a good time and see new places. It's a privilege to get to do it. And BAT, man, you start talking BAT and you got a friend in every port.
That's right.
One in every port.
That's right.
And it's fun to get to do that. People walking up and being like, I bought this car and then you got upset with me for my salty comment. And then you let me back in and I bought 3 more cars and now I want to sell my Bug Eye. And you're just like, can you make this stuff up?
You can't. It's the best. It's the best, man.
It's pretty crazy. And then young guys coming up in their E36 M3 and they're like, hey, I just heard about BAT. Like, what are we doing? That E36 345 you sold was crazy. And it's like, yeah, dude, let's go.
Let's go.
Anyway,
Awesome, man.
all of that and more.
We got a couple more coming up. We got the Boston event next month. We will also be out at Macchinissima weekend after next. So
There's an event. If you're looking for an event that's unusual and different, go to that.
That's in LA, and we'll be at Boston in October. So anyway, get out there, drive your car, touch grass, talk to people about salty comments on Bring a Trailer, and we'll catch you next time.